making room for a ballroom more fitting than Versailles. Oh, God. Or emblazing his name on the Kennedy Center. Or building an arch that will dwarf the Lincoln Memorial. Or even hiring his own pool guy, the pool, to turn the reflecting pool into something you might see in a theme park.
Man, take a look at this. The reflecting pool's green.
It was supposed to be completely
black. Yeah.
I mean, we just saw it like a week ago. It was like crystal clear blue,
all that. Yeah.
Crazy.
There's algae in here again. I feel like it's sabotage.
Well, as you can see behind me, the reflecting pool down on the National Mall is now a bright green color. It looks like green pea soup. I heard a man just a few moments ago say it looks like St. Patrick's Day. What were you just saying, sir?
It looks like the Chicago River on St. Patrick's Day.
It's pretty green.
All the green in.
It's green now, that's for sure. And right now you can see workers behind me trying to deal with this. They're trying to suck the algae out of the reflecting pool because it has turned such a bright green color. And a lot of experts predicted this. A lot of meteorologists said if you paint the bottom of the reflecting pool this dark color, Trump wanted it to be this dark American flag blue, that it was going to heat up the reflecting pool and create these algae blooms that have now caused the reflecting pool to turn this bright green color. A lot of people predicted this, but Trump and his propagandists, people like Jesse Waters, who stupidly said go ahead with this, they didn't want to listen. They were being stubborn about this. They have no expertise in dealing with federal installations. And so now the results of all of this, millions and millions of dollars have been spent to turn the reflecting pool down on the National Mall bright green.
I'm serious. Folks, it's not just that, it's the corruption. This is the most corrupt president in the history of the United States of America.
Just listen to this. Last September, the president of Kazakhstan calls Donald Trump and says he wants to grant tungsten mining rights to an American company. And the very next month, Eric and Don Jr. get a stake in the American company pursuing the mining deal. 6 days later, 6 days after Prince Eric and Prince Don get their stake, Kazakhstan announces this company will get, quote, the largest known undeveloped tungsten resource in the world.
There's the tree that Teddy Roosevelt planted. And he's putting a fucking cage. And he's putting on a show. Bread and circus. Bread and circus. And by the way, that's all it is to him. The gold, the Rose Garden, the Oval Office. It's bread and circus. He knows what he's doing. He knows that people are absolutely enthralled by it. And again, what it is, it's audacity versus authenticity.
Welcome to the White House. Welcome back to the White House, where I've been watching perhaps the most tasteless, grifty spectacle in the history of the People's House, UFC Freedom 250. Last year, Donald Trump demanded a military parade for his birthday. This year, for his 80th, he demanded a demonstration of extreme violence for his own amusement. For most of the day, it's actually been quite a fun event. Seats on the South Lawn over there are invite only. They're for VIPs, Trump cronies, and members of the military, so long as they meet strict appearance and weight requirements. No, I am not kidding. I'm on the ellipse next door, where there's plenty to do. There's photo ops, meet and greets, test your strength challenges. Exactly 2 things are free here: water and Monster energy drinks. There was a great show by the US Army's rock band, and hey, did you know the US Army has a rock band? And they're really good. There was a fly past, Logan Paul recorded a podcast. It was all pretty light-hearted and fun. But then it kind of took a darker turn once the president came out and the fighting started. They announced that performance bonuses for the fighters would be paid in a cryptocurrency that's owned by the Trump family. They kept plugging Truth Social, Trump's own social network, which was a sponsor of some of the fights. And then one of the fighters, Josh Hokett, who's known as a bit of a character, he won his fight. and he presented the president with a big gold chain featuring a picture of his face. Then he got back in the ring, turned to the cameras and shouted something truly unpleasant about former First Lady Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama is a man! Am I right, America?
Not only has nobody thus far apologised for the remarks, which were made on the White House lawn and on TV on Paramount Plus, but he was brought over to the FanFest stage over here behind me for a celebratory interview, and so far nobody has mentioned it. It's as if it didn't happen. There have been endless debates about whether this was an appropriate event to hold at the White House. It's a for-profit professional sporting event with corporate sponsors, which, not to mention, will do some serious damage to the lawn of the White House. But whatever you think about the event on paper, or UFC is a thing, and I should say again, every fan I've spoken to in the last couple of days has been lovely and friendly and very welcoming to a Brit like me who has no idea about their favourite sport. The end result has actually been pretty grim. It's been a vulgar circus, like Last Days of Rome style, held on hallowed public property, with entertainment provided by the armed forces and security provided by law enforcement officers who are presumably on the clock for the taxpayer. And the Trump family is personally profiting from all of it.
We are the Article 1 branch of government in Congress. We appropriate money. It's up to us at this point to both completely defund their fraudulent settlement and their anti-weaponization fund, but also to affirmatively declare that no federal taxpayer dollars should go to the purposes of paying the insurrectionists, the Proud Boys, and the Oath Keepers. For one thing, it's unconstitutional. If you read Section 4 of the 14th Amendment, it says that no money may be appropriated for the purposes of paying for insurrection.
Rule 9.
Everyone should be talking about Rule 9.
What is Rule 9?
It's the special privilege that gives every member of the House of Representatives
the ability to force a vote on articles of impeachment anytime.
You heard that right. They don't need permission.
Think Pete Hegseth is pro-life?
Yes, yeah.
He bombed a school with 160 Iranian children. All right, there you have it.
I honestly don't get how anybody voted for that man. I really don't get it. And by the way, I don't mean politically, right? I understand people will vote for the politics they want to vote for. I get that. What I don't understand is why people voted for him. What was even crazier was that some people voted for him and then were disappointed by who he was. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. People were there like, I can't believe what he's doing right now. I just can't believe what he's doing. I'm sorry, you can't believe what's happening? Donald Trump, can you believe this? Can I believe that he's doing the exact same thing he's been doing for his whole life? Yeah, I can't believe this. There's a shock. You're shocked? Donald Trump is the least shocking human being I've ever come across in my life. He is consistently being himself. The man is a cliched villain. Looks like a villain, talks like a villain. Like he looks like he should be in a Scooby-Doo episode. With that face, with that vibe, you could see him in the lineup when they're trying to solve the crime. Who do you think it is, Scoob? Be like, oh, it wasn't me, I'll tell you that much. He was like, I didn't do anything, I'm innocent. Be like, I'm innocent, so innocent. Some say the most innocent man who's ever lived. Be like, yeah, I think it's that guy.
Yep, Eagle, America, understood. How about healthcare? How about fucking high-speed rail? I don't know. How about, just better quality of life? How about lower cost for living, better access to jobs?
Some big news right now. Donald Trump is terrified of criminal prosecution, so much so that his personal criminal defense attorney, now Attorney General, has announced today that he is instituting, quote, roadblocks to prevent future prosecution of the President of the United States, his children, and his companies. Todd Blanche today made the announcement in an interview with Katie Pavlich, essentially saying that they're going to be instituting so-called roadblocks to prevent Trump and his family and his associates from facing criminal prosecution, including individuals who worked for Trump during the second term. Now, they wouldn't need these roadblocks if they didn't do anything wrong or if they didn't think they did anything wrong. But as we know, the Trump administration over the past 18 months has engaged in actions that many experts say not only violate criminal law, but violate human rights for people across the country. Spread the word, because people need to be aware of what's happening, and follow along, stay updated on all the news you need to know about. More to come soon.
Alito was like, not true, when Obama said that Citizens United was going to allow all kinds of dark money into our elections.
Last week, the Supreme Court reversed a century of law that I believe will open the floodgates for special interests, including foreign corporations, to spend without limit in our elections.
Not true. Not true. Not true? It's 100% true. Now we have the receipts to prove it. So has Alito ever apologized? Of course not.
Look at this photo. Really look at it. On the left, you have Donald Trump at campaign rallies. On the right, you have Adolf Hitler. Same gestures, same energy, same posture directed at a crowd hungry for someone to blame. And before you scroll away, I need you to stay with me, because this video is not about comparing two men. This is about what history teaches us about movements and what happens to the people who just go along with them. In the 1930s, Germany, Hitler did not rise to power alone, y'all. He had politicians who knew better but stayed quiet because they wanted to keep their seats. He had businessmen who funded the movement because it was profitable. He had media personalities who amplified the lies because it grew their audience. He had everyday citizens who showed up to the rallies, who wore the symbols, who reported their neighbors and cheered for it. Some of them were really true believers. Many of them were just going along to get along. History does not make that distinction kindly. When the Nazi regime fell, the world did not just punish Hitler and then move on. The Nuremberg trials prosecuted military leaders, politicians, judges, doctors, and even businessmen. Denazification programs were implemented across Germany, removing anyone who had actively supported the regime from positions of power in government, education, law, and media. Companies that used forced labor or funded the Nazi Party were dismantled or forced to pay reparations. The defense of "I was just following orders" became one of the most infamous and rejected arguments in the history of human justice. Careers ended, reputations were destroyed, not just for one generation, but for many generations after. Now look at what's happening today. We have elected officials who have watched rights being stripped away, institutions dismantled, and democratic norms shattered. And they have stayed silent or actively cheered for it. We have media figures who know the truth and choose ratings instead. We have everyday supporters who show up to the rallies and wear the symbols and repeat the same talking points. And we have a generation of young people in American classrooms who are being taught a version of history with the most important lessons completely removed. And here's what I need you to understand. History does not remember the complicit kindly, and history is already being written about this moment. The question is not whether there will be a reckoning. That's happening. The question is which side of it you want to be on. Share this message. Tag someone who needs to hear it, because awareness creates desire, knowledge creates power, and power creates a movement. Are we done yet?
I told you. I told you he'd try to do it. He'll try to find a way. By the way, the national emergency is that Republicans are going to get crushed in the midterms. Did you see this?
January 6th is an issue that was made up in the first place.
People were convicted of assaulting police.
Well, I know
made
that.
up, sir?
That was a staged thing from day one.
What about it?
The
riot was staged?
When you had police officers letting people in the building, when you had people that's not being prosecuted, Ray, forget his name, there's no excuse for that.
Your colleagues, though, your Republican colleagues ran for their life and barricaded themselves in their chamber. Do you think they were acting?
No, there was a riot there, but it was a self-made riot by members who hate Trump. It was made up.
Term limits, yeah, but also moron limits. Am I right?
I don't know who Josh Hokett is. I know the cage match at the White House is supported by something like only 14% of Americans. But what he said was racist and vile. And he said it in front of the President of the United States and his entire cabinet, with a few exceptions. J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio. Nobody said anything. So, in addition to loyalty being the test, apparently cowardice is as well. Thanks. Talk soon.
I'm not MAGA, please don't scroll. I've got a moral compass and a soul. Broken Arrow. How do you as an American actually pay respect to our 250-year anniversary? Call a spade a spade. We're a nation in distress. I've had my flag, which I pay respect to and honor, especially for all those who have come home draped in it, at half-staff since November 6, 2024, for what I knew would become of our nation under Donald Trump today. Donald Trump gives aid and abets our enemies overseas. Donald Trump aids and abets the E-class here at home, giving everything to those that don't need it, the billionaires, while simultaneously taking away from all of us, Americans, that have already long been paying into the system. Donald Trump and the Trump regime is the enemy of the people. And this has nothing to do with politics. This is a question of morality and actual patriotism. Donald Trump sacrificed 13 of our own in Iran just so that he could do some insider trading for him and his family. So yes, the flag is inverted because our nation is in distress directly at the hands of Donald Trump, his regime, the Heritage Foundation, and the Federalist Society, along with every individual, online in the private sector and in government, that has been bought and paid by foreign-funded organizations. It's time to flip everyone's flags and storm the narrative in D.C. on July 4th. This is our 1776 moment, because you're either for our country and the Constitution, or you're against it. There is no gray line anymore. You either demand justice of the E-files, or you're complicit in approving of it. If you actually love your country, you'll fight for it.
Try to keep you close to me, but life got in between. Try to square not being there, but think that I should have been. Hold back the evil, let me look in your eyes. Hold back the evil so I can stop for a minute and see where you hide. Hold back the evil, hold back. Once upon a different life, we rode our bikes into the sky. But now we go against the tide. Those distant days are flashing by.
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush up. talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
Soylent Green is... never mind.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Just as I was about to go on, I like karate chopped the chopstick mic, and it went flinging out over there. I had to go get up and get it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Let me do a quick sound check here. Test, test, test. Good morning. All right. It is 10:03 a.m. in the Pacific time zone, and it's already 102 degrees. I just walked over to 7-Eleven while the intro was playing to get some coffee because I'm out of coffee. It felt like 105 at least. It's freaking hot, and this is only June. This is supposed to be where it's like in the 80s every day. And hence, we'll talk more about Soylent Green in a minute here, but this global warming shit, they were warning us about that when I was a kid in the late 60s and early 70s. They were warning us about it, and here we are. And they made a movie, a few movies actually, but Soylent Green was released in 1973, and the story takes place in the year 2022. I'll let you guys stew on that for a minute while I take a bit of my sandwich. I always thought, that song, that Men at Work song? What's that Men at Work song? What's the name of it? And he goes, what was it? He took a vitamin sandwich or vitamin, whatever it is. I always thought he said, and he took a bite of me sandwich, or whatever. But apparently in Australia, this Vitamix or whatever is a very popular thing that they eat. But for decades, I just thought he was saying, because it's like, what's the line? It's like, and this big guy came up and took a bite of my sandwich. That's what I thought he said. For like, I want to say probably like 40 years, I thought that's what it said. Anyhow, I'm going to take a bite of my breakfast sandwich. Here is Here's one of the movie posters. For Soylent Green. It came out in April of 1973. I was about 12 and a half. Maybe not even 12 and a half yet. But I remember seeing it. I remember going to the theater and seeing that movie. In the movie theaters. In the theater. Anyhow, I do see Paul Burroughs was first. Paul was afraid, apparently, that I wasn't going to see him. Because he says, TJ won't be able to go back to the top of the chat, so I surrender my number one spot to you. I don't know who the number, who just Mr. Spock there? Because Mr. Spock is second. Live long and prosper if you're still in here. Mr. Spock says, howdy everyone, nice thumbnail, TJ, up, or whatever this is up. It will be fascinating to see the relevance with this broadcast. I'm getting there. Let me do, I wasn't able to share the show out. Let me do that real quick. While I do that, I did see MJ Daniel. I don't know what's going on. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Alrighty, there we go. Yeah. I'm just posting a link to the show to my Facebook page, the Progressive Radio Station list. I've got over 545 followers over there, by golly. Not bad for having that channel for like 12 years or something like that. Something crazy like that. I also picked up a little packet of my chocolate wax donuts. I don't know if these are wax, but they taste pretty good. So, what can I tell you? They're pretty good. Look, they're like the 7-Eleven brand, I think, you know, that they carry. I see DPD is here. WW is here. Good to see you. While I do these quick shares, I got to share the show out. This is what I usually do when the intro's playing, but I had just barely enough time to go over there. I grabbed some coffee. I grabbed the sandwich, the donuts, a loaf of bread, some orange juice. Just grabbed a few things that I need. And, you know, and then walked back. By the time I did that, there was just a few minutes left on the show. Let's see here. Anyhow, thanks for being here. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hype and share the show. We are back up to like 4492 subscribers. Before you know it, it'll be 5K Hennessy Day. What day will it be? 5K Hennessy Day. So let's make sure we get on that. Let's keep the show going and growing. Now what happens when I'm doing this, sharing the show out, then that's when it won't let me go back to the top of the chat. when I go back. So if I missed some of your earlier chats, I apologize. Now, for some reason, oh yeah, there we go. It like my iPad is being really slow today. Anyhow, the reason I got on the subject of Soylent Green is because, well, it's really weird. You know how we've been talking for years about how when we're talking, our devices can hear us. And if we start talking about, Donald Trump wears the pins or something, then all of a sudden we start getting all these ads for the pins. And I'm like, why am I getting these? I don't need the pins. At least not yet, knock on wood. And, but now I'm wondering, can YouTube read our minds? Because the other day, for some reason, the movie Soylent Green just popped into my head. I don't know why. I don't remember why, but you know how things just pop into your head sometimes. And I was just thinking about the movie Soylent Green. This is like 4 or 5 days ago, or a few days ago. I don't know. No, like more like just a couple days ago. I was just thinking about. I didn't even say it out loud. And then all of a sudden, in my YouTube, the feed, you look through it, and all these, all these different videos pop up, and sometimes they have like full-length movies, right? And there it was, because I remember thinking, like, I was thinking about Soylent Green, and I remember thinking to myself, man, I don't think I've seen that movie. I remember seeing it when it came out in the early 70s, and I liked it. I liked the movie, and I remember liking it. And I don't remember if I've ever seen it since. Maybe one time, maybe it was on TV, or maybe somewhere, maybe one time in the 80s, maybe I saw it. I don't know. And I was just thinking, it's probably been decades since I've seen that movie. And all of a sudden, on my YouTube feed, what pops up? Fucking Soylent Green. And I was like, no way. I'm like, no way. I'm like, YouTube, are you reading my fucking mind now? It's bad enough that you're listening to my audible sounds that come out of my mouth. But now you're reading my mind? So, of course, I had to watch it. And usually I don't watch movies on YouTube. I've watched a few that pop up every now and then. Like, what was it? Something popped up, and I hadn't seen for a long time. I don't even remember now, but because it was like, I don't know, it was like 11:30 at night, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? So I watched it, and yeah, it's a little dated. I mean, it's 1973, probably. I wouldn't say low budget, but not a huge budget, probably a medium budget. Had some pretty big stars. Charlton Heston was a big star. Had Chuck Connors, who everyone my age, we all watched The Rifleman after school on reruns of The Rifleman. So we all knew Chuck Connors from The Rifleman. It had E.G. Robinson, who while shooting that film, was dying from like bladder cancer. And he died 12 days after they finished shooting this movie. And there's a very poignant scene. I'm going to try to stay away from spoilers. I know people say, oh, it's a 50-year-old movie, over 50-year-old. You don't have to worry about spoiler alerts. No, spoilers never go away. So I'm going to try not to spoil it in case someone hasn't seen it and they want to go back and watch it. But E.G. Robinson, I knew from being a kid watching old black and white, like gangster movies and shit on TV. For some reason, Instagram is not cooperating. I'm trying to share this to Instagram. That's strike 2 on Instagram, so. It had, what's her name? Lee Taylor Young, who was like the hot starlet from the early 70s in it. Joseph Cotton was in it. Brock Peters, I think. I don't know. Anyhow, big cast. And so yeah, it pops up on my YouTube feed. So I'm like, I gotta watch it. And I enjoyed watching it. I don't give a fuck what anyone says about that movie. I enjoyed watching it. I think it's a great movie. It's 1973. It's a little hokey. You know, production values are different then than they are now, or whatever. But I liked it. And so, for those of you that don't know, okay, so this movie is about what people were talking about. This is based on a book that was written in the late 60s. There had already been a book out, I think, called The Population Bomb. People were worried about overpopulation. They were worried about things like global warming. They were worried about food insecurities with droughts and the inability to grow enough food to sustain the population of the world. Now, I don't know what they thought the population was going to be for the total global population, but in the movie, it starts off with this. This is one of the graphics from the beginning of the movie. The year 2022, the place, New York City, population 40 million. They thought there would be 40 million people just in New York City alone. Now, the truth of the matter is, there's about, 9 million? There's about 9 million in New York City now. Far cry from the 40 million they were predicting. But the point is, we have been populating. I should have looked this up, what the population was in 1973. What was it, like 5 billion or something? All I know is that I've lived long enough to see these milestones go to 6 billion, to 7 billion. Now we're over 8 billion. So we are populating, but I think the fears of at least that quickly and within 50 years of being where we couldn't sustain that population, I guess, is not proven to be true. But we are populating, and we do, I think, as we've grown in population, we our fossil footprint has increased exponentially. And I think that's what we're seeing. One of the things that came true in the movie, I think, is global warming. Maybe not to the extent of the movie, but I know that here in Las Vegas, yeah, we're a desert. This is a hot place, but we're running 10 to 15 degrees above average. 10. Let me say that again. 10 to 15 degrees above average temperatures every day, and it's only going to get hotter through the summer. And this is going to be probably a record-breaking summer. And it seems like the last 3 or 4 summers have been record-breaking summers. Each summer outdoes the last summer. So we're getting hotter and hotter and hotter. So I'll give the movie credit for that. So in the movie, the planet can't produce food, or at least not enough food to feed everyone. So they make this stuff called Soylent Green. I think they also had Soylent Red. They had other colors, but Soylent Green, I don't know. That's the one they chose for the title, I guess. And apparently, the masses of people, they're just sort of all over the place. They're sleeping in stairwells, they're sleeping in churches. And then there's like the very, elite, the very rich. They have their own separate, really fancy high-rise apartments. But even those people, and they have air conditioning. They have ice cubes. Charlton Heston plays a detective who lives down with the huddled masses, and just because of his job, he has a little bit of a better. He has a really shitty apartment that he shares with this old guy. Who I don't know how they hooked up, because I don't think they were related. Like, it wasn't like his dad or his uncle, I don't think. They share this really shitty apartment. They've got, I don't think they have running water or anything. I don't know. It's really weird. And then the rich people, they've got really fancy apartments, and they've got showers and running water, but they can get stuff that I guess on the black market they can afford to buy really expensive jars of, like in the movie. This is from the movie. Like there was a reference to a jar of strawberries for $150 for a jar of strawberries or strawberry jam or whatever it was. One of the characters, the Lee Taylor Young character, she goes shopping, and she goes to this kind of, it looks like instead of a grocery store, it looks more like a kind of like a pawn shop or something. And she's like, you got what I came for? And he's like, oh yeah, I got it for you, baby. And he walks her around the back, and then in this, I guess, refrigerator section, there's this one sort of sad looking steak. And I guess she was able to get a steak and take it home. But all the huddled masses, that are living in the city, they're depending on getting these Soylent Green and Soylent Red, like crackers or wafers or whatever, And then so there's these little screen grabs were, I didn't know they were going to come out this tiny like that. But here's the thing. Here's like one of the scenes where the people are, they're all trying to get their bag of Soylent Green. And then some days they would run out, and then they would riot, and then they had these riot police. And Charlton Heston, he was a detective, but they would put him on riot duty too, you know. And that's where they had, if you saw in the poster, that they called those scoopers, those things where you see all the people in the bucket there. That's how they would disperse the crowd. They're like, okay, we're going to deploy the scoopers. You know, they've been a bullhorn. If you guys don't go home, and then the scoopers would come out and scoop everybody up. Let me just set the goal real quick. We got a goal of 5 super chats within 2 hours. I think that's pretty reasonable. I think it's super chats of any denomination. I think the lowest one you can do is $1.99. I don't know if there's a limit on how high you can go. But I'm gonna put this in there real quick. There we go. I'm gonna start the goal. The goal has been started. I'm not able to scroll to the top. I am where Johnny Katz comes in. Hello, Johnny Katz. Thanks for being here. Johnny Katz says, not going to work. Trump has a dignity canceling effect that's like surrounding him. We're going to have to wait. Oh, so that must have been not that you're not going to work. I thought it was like you're not going to work. You must be in response to something that someone else said, or maybe something I said, but you're saying it's not going to work. But I'm not able to scroll back up earlier than that. So I don't know what you're referring it to. Okay, so this is during the intro. Ask Una, was there? The dude was at his weigh-in. The dude in the the UFC in the intro, who called Michelle Obama a man, had to bring up that, like had to do that callback. It kind of tells you everything you need to know about what this event was all about. It was just about being as maggoty as you could be. It was about maggoty. It was a fellowship of the maggots, is what it was. And that guy, I had a bunch of footage of that guy during his weigh-in where he was like vomiting a little bit, trying to keep it in his mouth, but he couldn't. I didn't post that because it was gross. I just didn't want to subject you guys to it, but it was gross. There's something wrong with that guy. I know people talk about wrestlers making weight. I was in high school. I wrestled a little bit, and I knew a lot of wrestlers, and I knew about guys trying to make weight. I don't remember anyone ever fucking like throwing up like that. Like maybe they went around the corner or to a bathroom and they stuck their finger down the throat and did that type of a thing, like a purging thing. But just to be like walking and they're on the scale and they're like having throw up coming out of their mouth. I've never seen that. There's something fucking wrong with that dude. He's probably on lots of steroids and God knows what else. So we probably won't have to put up with his presence on this planet for much longer anyhow. But I didn't subject you to that. I didn't want to subject you guys to that. It was really gross. Anna Moore's here. Hey, Anna Moore, good to see you. Thanks for being here. I know you said you were having some tech issues, so I'm glad you're here. Anna says, look at the mess this clown has made of the White House. It sickens me. It's total idiocracy, too. When I was watching those clips of the White House, the lawn, the South Lawn, and what they were doing with all the shit they were doing, I think they had motorcycle jumps and, of course, the UFC fighting. They had all that shit. And it was just totally itty-fucking-ocracy, man. It's total itty-fucking-ocracy. And Fellowship of the Maggots. DPD says, said this motherfucker with a camel toe, I bet he's Tucker. Remember Buffalo Bill? Google it. Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs? I also contend Josh Hokett, if you look at his search history, you will find trans porn. Hell, if you look at my history, you might find some trans porn, you know? There's a girl on Instagram who I just saw just today as I was gathering clips, who was gorgeous. And I was like, wow, she's fucking hot. And as I looked at her name or whatever, you could said TS or whatever. It's like she's so that's for transsexual. I was like, wow, fuck, she's a babe. Anywho, I digress. Michelle's here. Hey, Michelle, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Very appreciate you. We'll pick up on the Soylent Green. Remind me where I left off, and I'll pick up on that in a minute here. And more, why is this agent of chaos in France at the G7 summit? Are you talking about Trump? Well, because he's the president. Well. And Johnny Cat says to cause chaos. He's just going over and sleeping. He's sleeping everywhere. Now, before he became president for the second time, I posted a lot of videos that he was falling asleep. Remember at his hearings, or when he was being indicted and tried, for all these felonies, these felony fraud cases. He was falling asleep then. He fell asleep at the RNC convention in 2024. He was falling asleep then. So he's had a sleeping issue for a long time, but it's getting worse because he can't go anywhere without falling asleep. I mean, he's falling asleep. He's wherever he goes. Even at the freaking UFC, that little clip of him almost like putting his head on Dana White's shoulders, that was him falling asleep at the fucking UFC event that he so badly wanted. WW, it is immoral to fly your flag upside down to many. Obviously, you don't know anything about military code of justice code thingies. They do that. It's a sign of distress. We are in distress, is what the man is saying. W, you're going to even argue that? You're going to argue with that guy? Jesus Christ! Aaron West is here. Was Jolie here? I haven't. I don't know if I skipped over Jolie, but Aaron West is here. Thank you, Aaron, so much. I appreciate you for being here. That was adorable. I think that was when the guy was singing to the sloth. I thought it was adorable too. That's why I had to put it in there. I'm like, I've got to end this intro with something adorable. So there you go. James Jaramillo from Southern Colorado. I was just thinking of you, James Jaramillo, because David Weiss from Denver contacted me. I don't know if David's in here or not, but he did contact me, and he's working on that car. And I was just thinking, by the way, thank you, David. I got the voicemail that you left. I wasn't able to answer it at the time. Thank you so much, David. David's doing a lot of work on that car, a car that he's getting ready for me to go get. I told him, if you're going to give me that car, I'll fly. I'll get a cheap Frontier Airlines flight to Denver. And I checked out flights. They're anywhere from, depending on the day, $29 to $62 or 60 something dollars. So I will fly back to Denver if David Weiss wants to, get rid of that car. I will gladly take it off his hands. And then I was thinking, like I told you, of instead of going across I-70 from Denver and crossing the Rocky Mountains and all that, and then taking the 15 down to Vegas, I was thinking about just taking I-25 down to Albuquerque, and then once you get to I-40, you can start traversing Route 66, and part of it is on I-40 now. Piggybacks on there. They've got some areas where you go off, and it's the old Route 66, and this is the 100-year anniversary of Route 66. So I thought, if that car is up to it, if I feel it's up to it, because either way, I mean, I'm sure it's shorter distance. It seems shorter. I haven't really logged it out or whatever, mapped it out. It seems like it would be shorter just to take I-70 straight across the I-15 and then I-15 straight down to Vegas. But it is a lot more mountains and stuff. And so that's what I was thinking about James Jaramillo, because really the biggest mountain climb, I think, if I take I-25 down to Albuquerque, is right there at the Colorado-New Mexico border, state line. Those are state lines. I don't like it when people call state lines borders, and there I did. I called it a border. Those are state lines, not borders. Borders are what's between countries. Anyhow, and right there is, what is it, San Cristobal? Or what's the town that's right there? It's like a churchy, Catholic churchy type of name. And I'm pretty sure James Jaramillo is from that area. I'm not trying to dox you or anything, but I was thinking of you when I was thinking, yeah, I think that's where James Jaramillo lives, right there. And that's going to be that climb through that canyon. I forget the name of the summit and everything. I've gone through there so many times in the truck, big truck. There's a way station right at the top of that summit. Right there that's where the state line is. It's right there at that summit, that peak on I-25 there, as a way station right there. But anyhow, so I was thinking of you, James, because I remembered. I think you said you lived down there somewhere. I mean, I can't remember the name of the town. I know it's some churchy, Catholic churchy name. It's a pretty little town. It's a pretty little town with some pretty little gals. I don't know. Michelle says, that helped dry some tears. Thank you, Trucker John. I think the sloth, singing to the sloth. Johnny Cat's, why take it down? I don't know what that's in reference to. DPD, Aaron West, thumbs up. That must be my sound check. DPD says, oh, and there's Jolie. So we got Jolie and we got Aaron. I believe, hopefully you're both still in here, but at the time of this reading of these chats, we had both Jolie and Aaron in here. And you know what that means when we have both Jolie and Aaron in the chat. That means that we are we are at full mod capacity. Full mod capacity. Thank you, Jolie. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate you. You know why I do that? One, because I'm goofy. But two, because, Aaron and Jolie, they mod a lot of different channels. But there's not anybody else. And a lot of people say, hey, the mod squad, they're the mod squad. But there's no one. There is no one else, not even Hal Sparks, that says that when Aaron and Jolie are on, Jolie doesn't mod for Sparks, but, if she did, he wouldn't do that. He would not go, we are full mod capacity. I'm the only motherfucker that does that. So that's my thing, man. That's my thing. DVD, who could it be now? Oh yeah, who could it be now? Yeah, that is that the name of the song? And it says they took a Vitamix sandwich or a Vitamix something. And I always thought he said he took a bite of my sandwich. WW says not to make anybody jealous, but Rockford, Illinois is 72 degrees of sunshine and a nice breeze. Nighttime temps in the 50s, second day in a row. Stars predicted tomorrow, but we can use the rain. There you go. Thank you for that update, W. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for that update, W. Oh, yeah. WW says fiction, just like they're eating cats. I don't know if you're talking about Soylent Green. Of course it was fiction, but it was a cautionary tale. It was a warning. WW, sometimes I just wonder how you get through life. No, I know you come on here to fuck with us. I know that you're different in real life. So yeah, there's there's Jolie, there's Aaron. I'm just looking down here. Yeah, we're at full mouth capacity. There you go. See, Jolie knows. James Jaramillo, I'm watching the intro right now. Excellent as usual. Thank you, James. Glad you liked it. Ask Ona, I watched it last week on YouTube with ads. Did you watch Soylent Green? I sprung for the like premium thing, so I was able to watch it with no ads. WW says Google has one of the most sophisticated monitoring systems on earth. Facebook too. I ordered pants from Amazon. All of a sudden, everybody is trying to sell me pants. But the thing is that I never said it out loud. I don't recall saying anything about Soylent Green out loud. I was all in my head. And all of a sudden it popped up. I just thought, wow. I was like, wow. I'm like, what the fuck, YouTube? Are you fucking reading my mind now? What the holy fuck? Are you kidding me? Ask Una Moses. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if there were any Moses parallels between. Oh, he played Moses in Ten Commandments or whatever. But he says, remember Mossad may be listening. Hopefully my mic will last. Again, I forgot to plug it in between shows. I did get about a 40-minute charge out of it, so hopefully that will be enough. But if all of a sudden you don't hear any of the words coming out of my mouth, it's because my mic died. Yeah, Jolie is says her daughters did great. They won 2 out of 3 games, and they were projected to lose all 3. Wow, look at there. Showed them projectors. That'll teach those projectors. Very tough games. Yes, we went to the mall and rode roller coasters, and yes, we went to the Lego store. Woke Mike, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Hopefully my mic, and also if all of a sudden the picture just sort of does a weird tumbling thing, it's because it fell over. I don't know if it's moving, but it looks weird. But I'm going to try not to touch it. You know how Mama always said, don't touch it. You'll make it worse. Ascona says in 1973, the global population was approximately 3.91 billion. So in 1973, we weren't even at 4 billion. And within my lifetime, it's clicked over 4 billion, and then over 5 billion, 6 billion, 7 billion. We're over 8 billion now. So we've doubled our population in the last 53 years? We've doubled our population. That's amazing. And that's why we are maybe things aren't as harsh and as stark as that movie depicted yet. Maybe they were only off by 10 years or 20 years or 50 years. I don't know. Maybe they were a little off on that. But we are looking at food insecurities. We're looking at droughts. We're looking at these continued droughts and global warming. And we are looking at water shortages, food shortages. And then we have things like Trump causing these stupid, illegal, unnecessary wars where we have the ingredients to make fertilizer that comes out of that region has been unable to get out, and we see spikes in prices not only in oil but in fertilizer or even shortages of it. We have crops here in the United States and probably elsewhere that might not get planted, and like this is going to be planting season, I think, in the fall, I guess, right? And whenever. I'm not a farmer, whatever. WW probably knows. He's a fucking farmer, or he knows farmers. But maybe they were just off by 20 or 30 years, maybe less. I don't know. James Jaramillo, climate change is a hoax. I think that's in reference to something W said. And I don't believe it's a hoax. It's definitely not a hoax. I'm sitting here baking my balls off because it's June and we're sitting at 105, 108 degree daytime highs. Last night, another thing. Now, I already knew that I was going to talk about Soylent Green, but last night at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm waiting for the bus and it's still fucking like 99 degrees. And it just made me think about the scenes where Charlton Heston and the people in this movie, Soylent Green, are walking around just always sweating. And because I was sitting there sweating. I was sweating my balls off last night, waiting for that fucking bus at 1 a.m. And it's like 99 degrees out. So it all, I don't know, it kind of resonated with me. James Armio, I've actually never watched Soylent Green. I'm going to have to soon. Yeah, check it out. It's on YouTube. Just search it on YouTube if you want. If you watch, because I have my YouTube on my TV. That's so I watch it on TV. But so I'm going to try not to spoil too much of the major stuff because, like I said, see, there's my point exactly. When people say that movie's 50 years old, you don't have to worry about spoiler. No. James Jaramillo has not seen the movie yet, folks. So let's respect that. DBD says another way to know we are in the throes of genocide is because scientists and doctors are vacating America in droves. As of July 1st, students enrolled in graduate programs will receive $20,000 in aid. And a lot of those, because we try to bring in the best and the brightest from all around the world. We try to get people to come here to get their educations and their doctorates or their whatever, and a lot of those people might have brown skin. And they're seeing what's happening to people with brown skin in this country. So they're like, yeah, I think we'll go somewhere else and try to get our education or whatever. This is all, the consequences of voting for this orange turd for president of the United States. An orange, stupid turd, con man, grifter, thief, rapist, pedophile, felon as our commander-in-chief, not just once, but twice. The first time, we already knew that he was a pussy grabber, that he thought it was cool. We had the fucking Access Hollywood audio, we already knew that he thought it was perfectly fine for him to just go up and grab a woman by the pussy and just start kissing her. When you're a celebrity, you can do those type of things. So we already knew what a fucking piece of shit he was in 2016. Then we saw how he bungled his presidency, bungled COVID, bungled the economy so terribly. Worst president ever. And during the 4 years that Biden was president, we saw him be found civilly, what was it? Because it's not guilty in the civil, but he was responsible for violating E. Jean Carroll's body. The judge even said that this would, what did he say? It would be, I don't know, for all intents and purposes, this was rape, but in the actual charges or whatever, I guess they can't say rape because it was civil or whatever. I don't know. But he lost to her. We saw that. We saw him lose 34 times in court for felony charges of committing fraud. And more Epstein stuff was coming out. And we elected him again. Whether it was by hook or by crook, by whatever we want to say, but nevertheless, he shouldn't even have been anywhere close to being elected. He should have been behind bars. But I don't know how I got on that little tangent. I guess it was from something in the chat. Oh yeah, from DPD about the doctors leaving. Yeah, because a lot of doctors have brown skin. They're like, fuck this shit. I don't want to get just dragged out of my car when I'm going to work just because I got brown skin and thrown in some fucking gulag. Oh, I guess he was not going. I guess Johnny Katz isn't going to work. Because it says I'm also not going to work because the health department shut my fucking coffee shop down. Well, maybe that's a godsend. Do you really want to drink or eat anything from a place that doesn't have at least an A rating? I don't. James Harmeo, reading 1984 was creepy enough. Yeah, that was pretty creepy. Danny Pomeroy's here. Hey, Danny, good to see you. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate you. I do appreciate you. Woke Mike, I see that. He was still drunk. I don't know. Is that you talking about the fighter? Is that why he was barfing? I don't know. Who was still drunk? Jolie says, maybe it's say. Maybe. Because I don't know what STG means. I salute the guard. No, I don't know. I think it's maybe I say, maybe. I don't know. Because you guys have these acronyms and you're like, it means be right back, trucker. I say time travelers make some of our movies. The fact that Idiocracy is now an app documentary of today just blows my mind. I know. It's amazing. It is. Woke Mike, he stays up all night posting shit. DPD says, I'll tell you another reason America blows. Concert packages are cheaper in Europe than here in the US. It would cost a fortune to see Harry Styles here as opposed to London. So fuck you, America. Don't mess with DP's concert going. God damn it. Fuck you, America. WW, that guy is not in distress. He's a showboater. He didn't say that, well, it says America is in distress. Clean the wax out of your fucking ears, WW. WW, as if everyone doesn't have a soul. Do you not understand sarcasm? Jesus Christ, you're a teacher, huh? Yeah, right. Do you not understand expressions, figures of speech? It's a way of this burning the maggots. He's saying they don't have souls because they must be monsters in order to be how they act. They're monsters. They're not people. Monsters don't have souls. People have souls. Do you not get that, you dumb fuck? Sorry. I said I wasn't going to cuss at WW anymore or any of his other entities or whatever. But sometimes I just gotta. It just deserves a cussing. Woke Mike Trucker John is way behind. Again, this is old news. Woke Mike. If I'm going to stop and talk, and I'm going to talk about Soylent Green, or I'm going to talk about things, and I'm going to read, just reading the chat in and of itself, it's physically impossible for me to read the chat starting from the beginning and read almost every single chat and be completely caught up. It's physically impossible. It's one of those things. It's like the speed of sound or something, or the speed of light, or it's like gravity or whatever. It's a law. It's some sort of a law, some sort of a physical scientific law that I cannot read the chats and talk and expound on things and also be completely caught up with the chat. Those two things cannot exist at the same time. It's not possible. So saying that Trucker John is way behind is really kind of it's like duh. That deserves a duh. Now I might chase you away. You might leave and never come back. I know we pissed off Barbara Nicholas one time because we all jumped on her because she rightfully pointed out that me posting a video of me eating a steak while simultaneously asking for money for a car wasn't a good look, and she was 100% correct. And we kind of all jumped down her throat about it, and I haven't seen her since. So I don't know what kind of skins you guys have as far in terms of thickness, but whatever. You know, can't please everybody, so you just got to please yourself. R.I.P. Rick Nielsen. Ascona says, for your information, Ohio teen Tyson Proper, 19, was arrested by the FBI for allegedly plotting an attack on USC Freedom 250 at the White House. I did have a clip. I was going to post it. I didn't get. I don't remember seeing the name of Tyson Proper and the age, but I did get. I did see that the FBI, which is led by Kash Patel, did post something about that, and I decided not to post it because it was from Kash Patel and the FBI, and you know, you can't trust anything that comes out of this administration, and I just didn't post it, but I did see that. Danny Pomeroy, have him send you the title so you can transfer it before you leave, John, so you can put the license plates. Good luck. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, well, David did say that he's that he is in the process of getting a duplicate title because I guess he couldn't find it. So he's doing that. He's doing all that. God bless his soul. God bless his heart. And I don't mean that in the condescending way. I mean that in a sincere way. There, you can say God bless someone's heart or soul in a sincere way. By the way, folks. Okay. But I was wondering about that, like driving it, halfway across country or whatever, 1,000 miles or 1,200 miles. If I would need some sort of temporary, I could probably have to get some sort of, because I want to register it here in Nevada, but I'm driving it from Colorado back to Nevada. I might have to go to the DMV and get some sort of a temporary registration or a temporary permit. Probably, I'm thinking. But yeah, that's a good idea. Or I guess, or are you just saying I would just register it here? Could I register it, I guess, without having it like physically in my possession? I guess I could just register it here in Nevada before I go. I guess that's and that makes sense, I guess. Yeah, so I could look into that. Yeah, like if I could just, if I got the title, I could just take it to the DMV here in Nevada and get my, they would probably give me a temporary tag, temporary permit or whatever, and then I could just drive it home and not worry about getting pulled over or whatever. Yeah, good idea. Good idea, Danny Pomeroy. WW, it's going to be 2016 and 2024 all over again. The liberal blamer, shamer, whiners are going to keep moderates and independents from voting for Democrats. I'm not trying to pick a fight. Once again, you are wrong because you're a stupid idiot. No, I should not say that. I did not mean that. I didn't mean that. You're not a stupid idiot. But I think Democrats of all stripes are going to come out in droves. Certainly in 2026, the midterms, and in 2028. I think Democrats of every stripe are just really chomping at the bit. I was looking at some Nate Silver, and I don't know. We have mixed emotions, I guess, or mixed thoughts on Nate Silver. But I was reading one of his posts about, they do these surveys and they check, what he does is he sort of checks some of the more, I guess, reliable surveys around, and then he averages them together, and so it gives right now Democrats at a +7, and I think that just for 2026, or was that also 2028? Probably just 2026. I don't know, but currently, so I guess what that means is that registered voters or eligible voters or whoever answers these polls favor voting for Democrats by a +7 margin. And he said that's what we were at going into the 2018 midterms. That was when Trump was president. Remember, basically 2017 to 2021. So in 2018, that was the midterm election then. And Dems were at a +7 in 2018. And we won the House then, right? So we're at a +7 now going into the 2026 midterms. So, and according to Nate Silver and the polling and everything, he says that it's almost for sure that Democrats will win back the House, but still the Senate is still kind of up for grabs, and a lot of that depends on how things go with Graham Plattner in Maine. When I was on Instagram this morning, I did see that my sister, my right-wing sister, dare I call her a maggot? I'm trying to repair some, bad blood between us due to fucking politics. Dare I call her a maggot? I don't know, but she's definitely right-wing, and I just see that she posted something about a meme or something about Graham Plattner, and I guess it was a screenshot or about an email, and this has been talked about for a while now, I guess for a couple of weeks, about how he said I would rape them to dominate them or something like that. I think it's taken out of context, and I've heard other people talk about it, like Political Punk and others. I think even Riverboat Jack talked about that particular. I don't know if that was an email or a text or a post in some social site or whatever it was. I don't know where he was posting that, but I do think that from what I gathered, that was pretty recent to him coming out from serving, in Afghanistan and Iraq, and he was saw a lot of shit. I think he had PTSD. I think the guy was suffering PTSD, but PTSD. And I don't know the entire context of that because they did just, of course, they didn't post the whole thing. It was just that couple sentences about, about raping and dominating. So they're going to go after him. Certainly the right wing and the Republicans are going to go after him. The question is how many Democrats are going to really even give a fuck about that, because it was a long time ago. The guy obviously had issues, PTSD more than likely, and that doesn't excuse rape. But I don't think he's ever raped anyone. It was just something he was saying, like, and it was unfortunate that he said that. But I don't know. And like I said, I have to get the whole context. I do think Mainers are sick and tired of Susan Collins, and they're sick and tired of, and they're seeing what the Republican Party is doing to the country and to their state. So I think they're ready for a change, and I think Graham Plattner has shown enough maturity since those early texts or postings of whatever that posting was, and has made a good showing in this campaign, in his campaigning. I think enough Mainers really like him and are willing to take a chance on him. And the way I look at it, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, as far as, I don't think he would ever be worse than Susan Collins. Now, again, we don't want somebody who's a violent person, against anyone, let alone women. But I don't think he is. And I think a lot of his ex-girlfriends have come forth and have said that he was a good guy. He was a good boyfriend. And the couple that have said some sort of questionable things turn out to be kind of like right-wing operatives. So, take all that into consideration, I guess. James Sarmio says, thank you for thinking about me, Sir TJ. I'll never forget spending my last year's birthday being here with you and the fantastic people here. Yeah, and you're always welcome to come here, James. DBD says, TJ, you are not closed-minded in the acceptance of the trans community. Now, someone like Josh Hokett, I get you. You're pointing out the hypocrisy, I guess, right? Josh Hokett has to display his manhood for everyone to see. That's called severe insecurity. Yeah, okay, I get you. WW, don't tell me why I shouldn't vote for the other guy, the other evil guy. Tell me why I should vote for you. Well, I think Graham Plattner is telling the Mainers why they should vote for him. James Hermio, I'm 112, I think, miles south of Denver. So is that not... You might be over by, whatchamacallit? Starts with an H. I can't remember. I'm blanking on names. WW, like a flag upside down, a bullshit warning if you are not really in true distress. I think we're in true distress. We've had ICE shoot two people down in the street in cold blood, and others have been shot and killed, and others have been dragged into these gulags with no due process and being treated extremely inhumanely. I think we're in distress, and for a lot of other reasons also going on. I think our country is truly in distress, WW. No one's crying wolf. The only one that cries wolf is fucking Trump. Woke Mike 1244 in Pensacola, Florida. Rhett PS7JO, I guess, is here. Hey, Rhett, good to see you. So, in quotations, the reflecting pool is the best metaphor for the entire MAGA movement. Spent $14 million, and I think it was actually, I heard over $16 million. Spend $14 million and never repair its infrastructure, just slap a coat of paint on it. And now, if they want the algae to stop growing, they're going to have to drain it and repaint it to whatever color it was before. It's so ridiculous. Hey, John Glad's here. Always glad to see John Glad. Thanks for being here. John Glad says again, infinite growth on a finite planet. Population reduction is a mathematical certainty. But I do think we can hold a lot more people than people were thinking back in 1973. The planet can, if we just start acting and operating conservatively, like conservation, like a conservationist. If we start employing conservation. Now the thing, going back to Soylent Green, as I was thinking about that movie, and I was looking up some stats and stuff, I started to think, okay, so because I was thinking about the screwworm fly that we are seeing a resurgence of, thanks to Doge, thanks to Elon Musk, Doge, thanks to Trump, and this insane just wanting to cut government programs without any thought, really, and claiming that there's waste, fraud, and abuse, and that they don't find any. They're just cutting. They cut programs. Some of these programs that we pretty much have kept this screwworm out of our borders, out of our country for decades. I think 30 years or 40 years. And due to Doge cuts, they cut back on whatever department is that handles that. What they do is they release, somehow they breed these sterile screwworm flies, and they release them by the millions in airplanes, I guess, in, I think, Mexico or in Central America. And that has kept that screwworm out of our country. And now, thanks to Trump, thanks to Elon Musk, world's first trillionaire, they made cuts into that program, and so they weren't able to get all those sterile flies out. And now we've got this problem with the beef. And we've got beef shortages. And because of that, and other things, that Trump has been doing economically. And so I started to think, okay, so, and also I've also been aware for the past 20 years or so about really the harm that cattle raising does to the environment. It takes a lot of water, and we've been dealing with drought for decades now. And so we know that cattle production takes a lot of water. It kind of ruins the soil, all the grazing and just not, just grazing down to the dirt and everything. It's very harmful for the environment. And we see what the rainforests, when they're for the cattle production down in South America, how they are just chopping down how many acres every day, every hour, just so they can make more grazing land for cattle, for beef. And so then I started to think, like, wasn't there something about lab-grown meat? Didn't I hear something about that? Why don't we just do that? Why don't we start doing that? Anyhow, I don't think we would have to worry about the screw worm. We wouldn't have to worry about those type of things, and we wouldn't have to worry about cattle production being such a strain on the environment. It's a huge strain, and we're going through water shortages right here at Lake Mead. By next year, Lake Mead will be so low. It's already at the lowest level that's been in years. And next year, it's going to be at what they call dead pool. In other words, it's going to be such a low level because they use Hoover Dam to generate electricity, and a lot of that goes to LA in Southern California. And the lake level there is going to get so low that it's not going to be able to generate any power. That's what we're looking at because of these droughts and with all the things that we've been doing to warm the planet and cause these droughts. Why don't we just stop with this? We're not, this isn't the cowboy days anymore, Those days are done. Those things are over. Well, I'll tell you why we don't do that. Do you remember, well, it's probably been 20 years, maybe longer. Maybe it was the 90s. I don't know. Oprah Winfrey was talking about like veggie meats or whatever, like fake meats and stuff, and was sort of, she had a show where she was like encouraging people to not eat meat, to become vegetarians, and for a variety of reasons, for health reasons and for environmental reasons. She came out against the beef industry, basically. The beef industry sued the fuck out of her, and they won, I think, for defamation or some shit. And she never brought it up ever again. Even though she's a billionaire, and I don't know what the settlement was or the whatever it was, or the award, but it was multi millions of dollars, I believe, the beef industry got. They sued her for, I think, defamation or some shit, just because she had the temerity, is that the right usage of that word, to even suggest that people not eat meat. The great Oprah Winfrey was sued by the fucking, I think, Texas Cattlemen's Association or some shit. So I'll tell you why we're not seeing more movement towards lab-grown meat. And it's not because it's, I know some of you are probably thinking it's gross. It might be gross or whatever. But let me ask you this, and I don't have a way of making a poll on here on my iPad. I can't. I would do it. I don't know if the mods can do it or not. But I cannot do a poll. But I'll just ask you, I guess, sort of informally, would you guys eat lab-grown meat? What do you think of that? Would you eat it? Would you, if you're a meat eater, if you're a vegetarian, I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't count. But this is real low lab-grown meat. This is not Beyond Beef. This is not Impossible, whatever. This is lab-grown. They use cells, actual like cells of the beef, of cows, and they're able to grow meat in a lab. And they could make it, at least I've never tasted it, but they say they could make it where you can't tell the difference between a lab-grown meat and one that was from a cow fresh off the pasture. If that was the case, would you eat lab-grown meat? Because that would solve a lot of our problems, I think, in terms of having to worry about screw worms and other things like that, and the environmental impact of raising cattle, whether it's here in America, or whether it's in South America, where they are fucking decimating the rainforest, the lungs of the earth. They are decimating the lungs of the earth just to produce fucking beef. But what if we just said, well, you know what, we're not gonna do that anymore. We're gonna eat. We like meat. We want to still eat meat, so we'll eat the lab-grown meat. Now the problem right now, there's two things. There's two things. Lab-grown meat isn't quite there yet, as far as I think the taste tests and being able to produce it at scale. But they can. It's possible. But from what I've read, they're probably about 10 years away to where they could not only make lab-grown meat taste imperceptible from real meat, from real cows raised on a pasture meat. They're about 10 years away, and also from being able to build the facilities that would be able to handle that type of production, because it's a huge scaling up. But from what I read, we're about 10 years away. Another hurdle in that, producing that meat, lab-grown meat, is, of course, the cattlemen's associations, the meat industry. Not necessarily the meat industry as far as the slaughterhouses and the meat packers and that kind of stuff, but the actual ones who raise the cows, the ranchers. They are having, of course, they don't want to see that go away. That's their livelihood. That's what they do. They raise these cows and send them to market. And two states, wouldn't you know it, Florida and Texas, the two that I saw in my research, have enacted laws where it's like a felony to produce lab-grown meat, to, I think, possess it, to eat it, to do anything with lab-grown meat. They've made laws against that in Texas and Florida. I didn't know Florida was such a big cattle raising, but I think Florida, they're just dicks, and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna. But I can see Texas. Texas, of course, there's lots of cow ranchers there, beef ranching and all that kind of stuff. So there are, and then of course, just politically throughout the Republican Party, they're going to be against it probably. But the other question I asked when I was doing my research was, why don't the beef manufacturers, why don't they get in on this and just start developing lab-grown meat? And the answer to that question is they are. Now, the biggest like slaughterhouses or meat packing plants in America are JBS, Cargill, and shit, what was the other one? Oh, fuck. And I've delivered, or I've actually picked up. I didn't deliver anything there, I don't think. I wasn't a cow hauler. I was never a cow hauler. But I've picked up the on the other end of it, the processing part of it, after they've been slaughtered and packaged or whatever. I did some refrigerated. For those of you that, I'm not talking about reefer madness. I'm talking about refrigerated trailers, refrigerated rigs. I did some reefer for a while. That didn't sound right. Where I picked up from Cargill and JBS and the other one that I can't remember right now. And the answer is they are putting in millions of dollars into research and development and into the lab, into the lab-grown meat, because they see the writing on the wall. They see that this is going to be our future, where the meat that we buy in the supermarket, it's not going to be from cows grown or raised in a field somewhere. It's going to be lab grown, at least most of it. Now, there might be some people who, still refuse to eat lab grown meat, and they'll probably pay a premium for it. Just like the lady in Soylent Green who went to this shady looking shop to get a piece of shady looking steak. But yeah, it'll be like a boutique type of item. It'll be something like that. But there will be some small ranchers or whatever, which we can handle. The environment can handle small ranchers. We can't handle where the ranchers are producing at scale to feed the entire 340 million people of America and to feed the 8 billion people across the planet or whatever. So hopefully, I'm hoping that will, when we go to that it'll stop the fucking, at least the destruction of the rainforest. And that might be in 10 years from now. And so I'm interested in what you guys think, if you guys would eat lab-grown meat. Now, someday you might not even have much of a choice unless you want to pay, double for range-grown meat or whatever. Just like we have, range-grown chickens or whatever. But I kind of see that with some of the parallels of Soylent Green. Because it was about food insecurity. It was about not being able to really grow food and produce food. They had to make these Soylent Green wafers or crackers, type of a deal. Let's see. Did I have any other? I think that's all the Soylent Green stuff I had for memes. But and then the other thing I kind of started to think about is, what about EVs? Because of course, one of the biggest things that is contributing to CO2 emissions and to the warming of this planet is our automobiles. And I've seen charts where the increase, going back to the early 1900s, the increase of our CO2 emissions as we started really getting heavy into the Industrial Revolution and more plants spewing out all kinds of shit through their smokestacks. And then, of course, the Ford Motor Company really going online. We went from, I think in 1919, there was, or whatever year it was, very early, or 1920s or something, there was like 24,000 cars in the entire United States. Once Ford made their assembly line and they were able to pump out cars and they made them cheap, within, I think, 2 or 3 years after, they went from 24,000 cars to, I think it was something in the millions. I forget how many millions, but it was in the millions. Back in the 20s or late 20s or early 30s or whatever. I think it was still in the 20s. So you can see these charts of CO2 emissions going up and up and up. And you can put, there's another chart of our global temperatures, and it's right parallel with it. It's like right there. As we get more and more CO2, the planet gets hotter and hotter and hotter. Until now, here we are in 2026, and I'm sitting here in June. Now we're at mid-June. But it's been this way since March. We had 100-degree temperatures since March. We've had a couple of cool downs, where it kind of goes up and down. But since March, we've been having 100-degree temperatures. And here we are mid-June, and I'm sweating my balls off. That's got to say something. But also, I think EVs are going to get better and better. Battery life is getting better. Charging times are getting faster. Range is getting longer. Prices are going to come down. And I think EVs, and I know we talk about hydrogen fuel cells, we talk about other forms, and that's fine and dandy. And I'm not saying that it has to all be EV. But EVs are the thing right now. And they are taking us off of fossil fuels. And coal usage is going down. So much so that at least in Nevada, and I think in a lot of parts of the country, solar has surpassed coal in usage for our power grid. Solar has surpassed coal. Because people will say, well, you're just charging those using coal-fired power plants. Coal is on its way out. We do use a lot of natural gas, and we use a lot of nuclear. Those are the two that are above solar power. But I think we have a trend where green renewables it's not going away as much as Donald Trump would like them to go away, as much as Republicans, for some reason, want to do away with renewable energy. I mean, I guess it makes sense because, well, Donald Trump, when he was running in 2024, brought a bunch of the oil industry and gas producers to Mar-a-Lago and promised them that if they give him $1 billion to his campaign, that he will work for them. So it's not surprising, but still it's surprising, I guess. Or at least why are the followers, why are the voters, why are the Republican voters so against green renewable energy? I guess I can understand why. If you were the CEO of Mobil Exxon, but even they are making investments in green renewables too, because they see the writing on the wall. They know that they're not going to be around. Oil's not going to be around for much longer, at least in the capacity. I mean, these things will always be around. There's always going to be some cow raising and ranching. There's probably always going to be some oil production. We need oil. We use oil for other things to make plastics. I've heard all those arguments. Yeah, but if we could cut down, because our planet can handle, it's shown that it can handle pretty large amounts of CO2 emissions, but we've just reached the tipping point, I think. So we could still handle some oil production. We can handle some cow ranching, but just not at the levels that we keep growing to. It's reached that tipping point. So we need to scale back. We need to do these other things. We need to be responsible, and we could still populate the planet. And we're doing so. I think the population rate has slowed. But we can do these things. And I think just like the lab-grown meat, I think will probably be in supermarkets in probably about 10 years. I think EV cars will be the mainstream in 10 years. That will be the mainstream as we get more and better technology. Like I said, longer ranges, quicker charging times. We'll have charging stations will be just as prevalent as we have gas stations now. So in about 10 years, I think we're going to see a lot of changes. Can we make it, though? I guess that's the question. Can we make it to that 10 years? Can we make it to the year 2036? When I will be a spry 75.5-year-old. Hopefully those wonder drugs that Hal Sparks always talks about will be available. He says that by 2030, Hal Sparks has said, just make it to 2030 because then there's going to be all these wonder drugs of these anti-aging and aging reduce or aging or whatever, anti-aging or whatever, I don't know, drugs. So I'm like, all right, if you say so, Hal. My goal is to make it to well, I think he said 2030, which would be, I guess, 3.5 years. On January 1st, 2030, if I don't see those anti-aging wonder drugs, boy, I'm going to be pissed off at Hal Sparks. All right, I know I need to skip down because Woke Mike, I know I'm really, really behind. I know I'm really, really behind in the chat. But that's just the way it goes. I can't talk and keep up with the chat at the same time. So I'm probably going to do some scrolling down and needle dropping, if you guys don't mind. Like here, Johnny Cat says, "Yeah, I don't care. Call me silly how to play some game mode because I know it should be something simple, like oh yeah, didn't have a rag and sanitizing. I don't know. See, that's what happens when you needle drop." DPD says, "I need to rant. Fuck the comedian Nate Bargatze for attending the UFC Pride Fest, who is a MAGA Nazi, and fuck you to Jack Osborne, whose father loathed the orange pedophile. Ozzy is spinning in his grave." Yeah, I didn't know he was there. Was that him? He was probably in the intro, and I didn't even know. I don't know. Oh, someone came back. I'm back. All right, scrolling down, needle dropping. DPD says, "Let me tell you something. There is absolutely no need for you to apologize for eating a steak and asking for help. It pisses me off when some small-minded individual." Okay, look, I don't think Barbara Nicholas was small-minded, ignorant. I think she was right, actually. Now, the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter that my cupboards are bare. My refrigerator is almost empty. I really have no food now or at that time when I made that video. But I did have a steak. So I cooked it and I ate it. But she's right that it doesn't look good to post that video because people, they don't know that my cupboards are bare. They don't know my refrigerator is empty. My freezer is empty. They don't know that. They just see a guy eating a big, fat, juicy steak. And then the next post is, "Please send me some money because I need to buy a car." So I think she was right that it looks bad, Barbara. And if you're lurking, I don't know if you've just completely written me off, but I apologize to you, Barbara. I apologize to Barbara Nicholas because I think I and some of the other, we kind of jumped down her throat a little bit, and she was right. Even though my cupboards are bare and my fridge is empty, because I'm just barely making it, and I'm not trying to make people feel sorry for me or whatever. A lot of it is of my own doing because I don't go to work as much as I should. I went to work last night. I'm trying to go to work at least every other day, but a lot of times it's hot and I'm tired and I'm old and I don't feel like getting out in the heat. But that's that's bullshit. I mean, I should just do it. I should just fucking do it. Stop being such a pussy. So I think Barbara Nicholas was right. Regardless of the fact that my cupboards are bare, my refrigerator is empty. I did buy a couple of things. All I have in my fridge now is a thing of orange juice. I got 2 eggs left. I got some cheese. I think that's it. Oh, I got some condiments in there, like mayonnaise and shit. Nothing in the freezer. The cupboard, all I have is a loaf of bread. Oh, and some pancake mix. I love having pancake mix because I make pancakes. But anyhow, so she was right. It looks bad because, like I said, people watching that, they don't know what's in my cupboards. You guys didn't even know until I just told you, and there's really basically nothing in there right now. And I just buy a little bit of stuff because I usually bring some cash home from when I work. 30 or $40, and I can go buy a couple things here and there, and that's basically how I'm getting by right now. So anyhow, oh shoot, God darn it, doggone it. I meant to scroll and it did something else. Now I'm trying, and I got to go back to where I left off. That's what I hate about this thing. All right. So I am just scrolling and needle dropping. MJ Daniel from Washington State is here. MJ says, I lean towards everything from this administration being total bullshit on steroids. Like, yeah, I know what you mean. Like on steroids. Like, I know what you mean. But I didn't read that right. But anyhow, Vasantha is here. Hey, Vasantha. Bob LeBlanc is here. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Rhett PS7JO says, scary thing is Americans are still getting more ignorant, and education is the only thing that can save our democratic republic. Yeah. MJ Daniel, the only thing that keeps people from voting is their own lack of awareness and common sense. We will see if Americans do the right thing in November. I hope so. You know, I don't want to get ahead of my skis here. I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think we're going to get the House back. I hope we can get the Senate back. WWF says Collins has the money. Plattner is a jerk. I would have a difficult time voting for him. I think he's leading the polls. Well, let me see. Let me see if I can get some polling on that. Before I say something that's not true. Let's see here. This iPad is so slow. Let's see here. Oh my God. This is so frustrating. Like you're typing something and it wasn't typing. And then I always hit the wrong letter. Okay, I'm just going to say, where is Grand Plattner in the polling? That should get us there, right? And of course, I have to put a question mark, even though I don't think you have to. Whoops. And then I hit space, but instead of space, I hit a B. Okay, so let's get some polling. Main poll, Plattner holds slight lead over Collins. So it's a slight lead. This is from June 4th. Do we have anything more recent than that? That's 12 days ago, right? Here's 7 days ago. Glenn Plattner secures a Democrat nomination. That was the primary, right? 5 hours ago, it says Maine Senate race polls show tight. I guess I could click on that, see what it says, because it just stopped right there. Polls show tight Senate race between Collins and Plattner. So right now it's tight, apparently. That didn't sound right. I hate Reddit because all it is just people. I want something. I want real shit. I don't want assholes. New York Times, latest polls. Is this from today? This is from today. And then they've got all these polls, and I'm now I gotta fucking scroll through this shit. It has, according to all polls, I guess, is this like when they average all the polls? It has Plattner +2. Well, all these ones, there's different ones. Wick, Plattner +2. Oh shit! What the fuck? What the fuck just happened? I hate the Times. Then all of a sudden a paywall comes up. Fuck you, New York Times. Fuck off. I'll find something else. Well, anyhow, But I guess it's pretty close, but it looks like Plattner has a slight lead. Here's Newsweek from 3 hours ago. Let's see if Newsweek will let me read the goddamn, at least the first paragraph. Let's see here. This is from 3 hours ago. Newsweek. Susan Collins within striking distance of Graham Plattner in main poll. God damn it with these pop-ups. Senator Susan Collins, I gotta read fast before it pops up or something. A 5-term Republican, 5 fucking terms this bitch has been in there. Trails her Democratic challenger Graham Plattner by only 2 points. But just to think, she's the incumbent that they've reelected over and over again, and she's behind. The fact that she's behind, even if it's only by 2 points, I think is astounding. Anyhow, according to a new survey, the latest sign of a tightening race in a must-win state for Democrat hopes and taking control of the upper chamber. Maine is likely the Democrats' best opportunity to flip a Senate seat from GOP control in the 2026 midterms. The blue-leaning state backed former Vice President Kamala Harris. I think Tellerico's got a good shot too, but anyhow. Former Vice President Kamala Harris by about 7 points in 2024. So it's a blue-leaning state, but if they're a blue-leaning state, then why the fuck do they keep electing that cunt? And I'm getting really spicy. I don't like to say cunt on the show, but god damn it, I can't stand Susan Collins. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? I can't not stand her. And if they're a blue-leaning state, then why the fuck are they voting for a goddamn Republican? 5 fucking times. And those are 6-year terms. They're not 2 little tiny 2-year terms. Those are 6-year fucking terms. Jesus Christ. Anyhow, but Collins has served for nearly 30 years. Yep, 6 times 5. Consistently finding a way to win tough races in the state and cultivating a popular, moderate image. She's not a fucking moderate. She fucking sucks Trump's fucking orange balls every fucking day. She fucking gurgles them, man. The tightening of the polling numbers comes amid a series of controversies surrounding Plattner, a political newcomer who quickly drew support from the left flank of the Democratic Party. He has faced backlash over resurfaced Reddit posts. Those were Reddit posts, I guess, that I was talking about earlier. A controversial tattoo and behaviors in past romantic relationships. The new poll found that 30.2% of respondents say those controversies will be very important to voters. The poll from Wick and Two-Way is the latest in a series of surveys suggesting Collins has gained ground despite Plattner's early polling lead, a potential red flag for Democrats who know the race is critical to winning a Senate majority in President Donald Trump's second round of midterm elections. Maine Senate poll, What to Know. The new poll, first reported by Politico, showed Plattner leading Collins by just over 2 points, 47.6% to 45.4%, falling within the poll's margin of error. 7% of respondents said they were still undecided. Look, how is Plattner going to be worse than Susan Collins? How would he be worse? Could he vote with Republicans any more than Susan Collins? Is there any wiggle room there? I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess if she votes with Republicans 99.8%, he could vote with Republicans 90.999 or so. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. My point is, you got nothing to lose by voting for Plattner, and everything to gain, actually. It surveyed 1,000 Mainers from June 11th to June 14th and had a margin error of plus or minus 3.1 percentage points. A tightening race. Okay, so it's a tight race. Plattner still has 2 points or whatever. Of course, the Republicans are coming in hot and heavy with those posts and all that shit. I still think he can win. And for the love of God, get rid of Susan Collins. She's a She is a worthless piece of shit, man. She is a worthless piece of shit. I don't know why somehow I lost my page that I was on. She's a worthless piece of crap. So what have you got to lose? I know that's what Trump used to say. So I know it sounds weird, but what I'm saying is I don't think he could be any worse than Susan Collins, no matter what. Now, of course, if it turns out that he is did something really criminal, really horrible, then I don't think he deserves to be like rewarded for that. Too. So but I don't see any of that. Okay, I'm not able to go. I don't know where I left off. I'm where MJ Daniel says, I want a Jetsons car. Okay. They have flying cars. They have them. You can buy one on Temu for like $500. I wouldn't suggest that probably. But they have there are flying cars out now. So up there in Washington too, you probably be fun to drive one out there. Johnny Cat says our next hurdle is April 13th, 2029, and yeah, it's a Friday. Friday the 13th. Mad Max here. Hey, Mad Max, good to see you. Mad Max says, I had some peanut butter on a Ritz cracker last night and decided a cucumber slice would fit just perfect, and it tasted great. Mr. Spock says, here's some advice on invest in plastic. A quote from The Graduate. Yep. Was that DPD? Yippee, DPD. Thank you so much. Yippee. Hey, we got one in before the thing. But we still got 34 minutes. Thank you so much, DPD. DPD says, TJ, I want you to take care of yourself. I want you to use this for groceries. I hope it helps. I know I can be nosy, but I care for you, and you deserve the best. I want you to know that you're a giant teddy bear, TJ. And I also want you to hit that water park. All right, maybe I will. It would be nice and refreshing. But thank you. Yippee going out to DPD. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. But yeah, I'll be fine. I'm just going through a rough patch. I'll be fine. I think once I get that storage things closed down, that will help so much. And that's coming up Friday. My daughter is supposed to do that for me. Get that stuff and bring it up here for me. So that will be a great, great relief. I mean, I can't tell you because when you're living like financially on the edge like this, like I am, where every single fucking penny, really means something. Saving that 200 and I always say 220, but I think it's actually 206 or something, whatever it is. But saving that over $200 a month on that stupid storage is that's groceries, man. That's $200. That'll get me groceries for almost the month probably, or at least, a good portion of the month. So, but thank you, DPD. I appreciate you. I do appreciate you doing that. I'm not able. I think I missed a lot of the chat. I'm not able to scroll back when I went and looked for that polling information. Then when I came back, I wasn't able to scroll back all the way. Bob Newell says, "Why does the ceiling fan remind me of the DEA helicopter?" Must be flashbacks. Mr. Spock says you can increase your lifespan by 33% just by eating a specific low-calorie diet. Yeah, I know. There's probably all kinds of things that I don't do that I should do, and that a lot of us should do, I guess. Bob Newell, which is better, Chinese food or Italian food? Italian, of course. Johnny Katz, that's a tough one, Italian. Yeah, no hesitation, I think, from me or Johnny Katz. I mean, I love. Don't get me wrong, I love me some good Chinese food, but Italian is probably my favorite. or Mexican. Mexican's probably my favorite. Italian is probably my second favorite. And then Chinese is just something that I like to have every now and then. James Jaramillo, both are great, but I'm going with Mexican. There you go, James. Yeah, I think Mexican's my favorite. Well, no, you said pussy. I did say pussy. I called myself a pussy, right? Didn't I? I think I called myself a pussy. DBD TJ, you should be enjoying your retirement. I know, right? No, I did kind of retire early. A little bit early. I mean, not early. I mean, I know some people that retire real early, but like in their 50s or whatever. I didn't do that. But here's what I would like to do is be where I got my Social Security. That pretty much pays for my rent. And then I would like to be able to, if David Weiss comes through with his car, that's a blessing, a great blessing, or whatever. I get a car, and then I can go to work, and whatever money I make, because driving the taxi is really easy, and it's fun. I enjoy driving the taxi. I really do. I enjoy meeting the people. Almost everyone I drove are nice people. They're here on vacation. They come from all over the country, all over the world. Sometimes we get some really nice conversations about the world and about whatever, and I really love the job. It's a fun job. It's easy, and I'm a good driver, and I'm going to watch Judge Wapner, whatever, But I am a good driver, and I've had many people tell me that they appreciated me getting them to their destination safely, because the last guy they had was a fucking moron, and they were ready to jump out of the car because the guy was such an idiot driver. So people, when they get in my car, in my cab, they're like very appreciative, and they will tip just on that. They'll give me a good tip just because they didn't feel like their lives were in danger, So anyhow, I really enjoy it. So once I get the stupid storage thing settled, and I'm not paying for that, and once I get to where and I know it sounds like first world. This is like a first world issue, first world shit. Once I get the car, but, and I do sound like a wussy and a pussy, I think, because I don't go to work as often, because it's a 2-hour bus trip and it's 105-degree heat, and I know there's a lot of people that are like, wow, cry me a river, and they've got a whole bunch of shit way worse than that they're going through. So I don't mean to sound, I apologize if I sound like the world's biggest fucking crybaby, but I know because when I had the car before, I was going to work every day and it was fine. But now, since I've been without a car, it's been a real hardship. And I moved further away from the job. So once I do those two things, I will feel like I am really kind of semi-retired, because I'll be doing the taxi cab job, and that'll be just my extra money coming in, So anyhow, and that'll actually be my grocery. Now I have applied, because you guys are always telling me I should apply for these programs, and I haven't got any response yet. But it was last week, I think. I applied again for SNAP, which the way Doge is and with the Republicans in charge, I don't even know what I'm going to get with SNAP. But I figure anything's better than nothing. So I applied for SNAP, and I applied for that. I think they call it QMB or something, where it will pay for my Medicare, that $200 that I'm paying every month. But I haven't been approved yet. I haven't got any, because they will send me a letter. It just takes a couple weeks or whatever. But I applied for that, and I'm going to make sure, because I've applied several times in the last year and a half, and I always blow it off, or I don't respond. I'm supposed to respond to that, and there's a phone number, but I will do it this time. I'm getting better. I think I'm getting better, and the more desperate I get, the more better I'll get at doing that. So I should get that Medicare paid for, and maybe get SNAP. And I guess that's it. I guess that's all I would qualify for. So there's that. And that will be a great help. So anyhow. Now I do have, I get Zillow. You guys know Zillow? You're familiar with Zillow? It's like a real estate app or whatever, and you can look at prices for houses, and it includes rentals also. And I have a notification set up for apartments in California, up in the mountains of Southern California, because that's where my kids live. And I got a listing the other day for a 1-and-1 that they only want $500 a month for it. Because I would really love to live there and be close to my kids, but I really want to stay here, and I want to drive the cab for maybe a couple, 2 or 3 more years. I don't know. But I would also like to live in Big Bear, in California. And I don't see myself driving. I don't even know if they have cabs in Big Bear. I don't think they do. They don't even have Uber or anything there. And I can't see myself driving a cab anywhere other than Vegas, even doing rideshare anywhere other than Vegas. I think Vegas is just a great, perfect city to do that type of work. I wouldn't want to be a cab driver in LA or San Bernardino. I wouldn't want to do it. But here in Vegas, I love it. So, but eventually, my plan is maybe in 2 or 3 years or somewhere down the road of moving to Big Bear. So thirsty. I'm so thirsty. All right, guys, I'm skipping down and needle dropping. Thank you, Jolie, posting the Buy Me a Coffee link and the PayPal links, reminding us that we have channel memberships, guys, which is really a great way to supporting the show. We have them as low as $1.99 a month, and we have another one for $4.99 a month. You can support the show through the memberships. And I know times are tough for everyone, and the economy is bad. So you can support the show by liking, subscribing, sharing, hyping. If you see a video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. It would be great if everyone who sees one of my videos, whether it's a short or any video that's just a regular video, if you would just leave a comment. And I'm not even going to say it has to be 8 words, because I don't even know if that thing's true about the 8-word thing makes it more whatever. I don't know. Even if it's just 1 word or 2 words, at least that lets me know like who's seeing it. Because I always wonder, like, who is seeing these videos? Where is it getting out to? So if you see one of my videos, just give it a thumbs up if you would, and leave a comment. It could just be hello, Trucker John, or whatever. That way I know that you saw it. And I know Anna Moore does that a lot. Thank you, Anna Moore. Anna Moore comments on my videos. So thank you so much. I'm skipping down, doing a little bit of needle dropping here. MJ Jano says, Asian or Italian, cooked at home or eat out. We have some really good Asian places around here. But my go-to is called Nani's in Seaside, Oregon. The owner, cook, and staff are all from Italy. And the food. And that's some sort of emoji that probably means good. It probably means really good. All right, skipping down, needle dropping. Mr. Spock says, but add stress and the person ages quicker. Look at Obama. Well, that happens to every president, even Trump. But every president that I've ever seen, they age. MJ Daniel says, Jim Jordan has been there almost as long. Get what you vote for Ohio. Yeah, get that motherfucker out too. Come on, DPD. Let's get Jim Jordan out of there. Mad Max says Collins is an evil witch with a B. Yeah, I hate her. PDG 200 LBFB says take your now we're going Planet of the Apes here. Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape. Charlton Heston from Planet of the Apes. Yep, and he had quite the run there. He did Planet of the Apes, which is a bit dystopian in a way, right? And then he did. Now I don't know which was first. I don't remember, but he did Omega Man, and Soylent Green, which were really close together. I forget which one was first or second there. And those were definitely kind of dystopian, kind of post-apocalyptic. All of those were, well, I don't know if Soylent Green is post-apocalyptic, but I guess so. So he was on a run there with those sort of dystopian, post-apocalyptic themed movies. Jolie says, sometimes you just gotta call a cunt, Trucker John. Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't like doing it because someone could take that and maybe make a sound bite or something and try to frame me for being a big misogynist or something. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? They could, dude. MJ Daniel says, Collins is nothing but a lizard sunning in a rock that only moves in order to vote the way she is told. Yeah, she's just a fucking Trump lickspittle. Do you think Graham Plattner is going to be a Trump lickspittle? I don't. No, granted, if it comes out that he was a grapist, I guess we can say that, right? That he's an actual grapist or an actual real physical abuser, because I don't think those have come out. None of that. They have the Reddit post, and I don't know the context of it, but I have a feeling that if you got the context of it, it would be different than just highlighting those two sentences. And again, like I said, most of his girlfriends are saying he was a good guy, he was a good boyfriend. One said that he kind of like, I guess, yanked her out of a car a little aggressively, and one said he kind of like, I don't know, pushed her shoulder a little roughly, and then I guess he locked her in a room. That doesn't sound good, but but then they turn out to be these kind of right-wing operatives, So you got to kind of consider the source. And I do think it's incredibly hypocritical that the right-wingers are putting out that, and yet crickets when it comes to Epstein files and Trump, and even before Epstein files, I mean, there were women coming out in 2016 about how he grabbed them and forced himself onto them and stuff. And so now they're concerned about that type of behavior, even though no indication that Graham Plattner was anywhere near that. Mr. Spock, guns don't kill people, monkeys with guns do. Charlton Heston at an NRA rally. I know we kind of hated Charlton Heston, I guess, because he was an NRA. Was he like the president at one time of the NRA? I know he's a big spokesperson. And there's, of course, when I think Bowling for Columbine came out, the Michael Moore documentary, and he played that clip of Charlton Heston at an NRA function where I guess he held a rifle up or something, and said, "You can try this from my dead cold hand" or something. So I guess all of us are supposed to hate Charlton Heston. Thank you, Michael Moore. Another heavy-set fellow who likes to wear baseball caps. Anyhow, I'm just not getting to DPD's $50 super chat again. Yippee! Thank you so much. I gave you a thumbs up and a heart for that, so thank you so much. Rhett says Charlton Heston is an old school bigot. He's dead, by the way. Right? I think he's died quite a few years ago. Yeah, he died because I was as you guys know, you should know. I've talked about it enough. And I don't know why the picture is so far away for me to find it. But as you know, in 2001, I was a gorilla in the revisioning, I guess they called it, of Tim Burton's revisioning of Planet of the Apes. And of course, I can't find my picture. It's ridiculous. It should have been towards the top. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there's me. John Fowler as the Red Ape Soldier. I credited myself. I did not get a movie credit in the actual movie. But I was a gorilla. That's me in costume. That's on set, on location, but at the movie location, we were shooting I guess a battle scene or something there. And that's me in the costume. And Charlton Heston was in that movie. I think that was the last thing he ever did. I think he played a dying old gorilla in this movie. Of course, he was in the original Planet of the Apes as Taylor, right? So he had this, I guess you would call it a cameo or whatever. He played, and you wouldn't really know it was him. I guess you could kind of tell the voice. But, he was in a gorilla suit. But Charlton Heston, I think that might have been his last movie, and I think he died relatively shortly after that, or maybe within a year or two after, maybe, of making that movie. So just a little, I guess you could say, that one of those connections, or those, like, seven removal Kevin Bacon? I don't know. But I do have a Charlton Heston connection. Not only did I watch Planet of the Apes when I was a kid, at the Big Bear Drive-In Theater, by the way, was the first time I saw it with my parents, because we lived in Big Bear for a little while. And we went to the drive-in. That's back in the days when they had drive-ins. And I remember seeing Planet of the Apes, and I loved the movie. And I was a fan of Charlton Heston. I thought he was cool. And then later on, when he made Omega Man and Soylent Green, I was like, wow, Charlton Heston, you go, man. And then, it wasn't really until Bowling for Columbine, and I kind of saw the right-winger-ish. That didn't sound right. I don't know about the bigotry. I don't know if I've heard about, but I'm not disagreeing with what you said, Brett. I don't know, but I do know he was a gun advocate, and I think he might have been president of the NRA for a while, or at least a big spokesperson for the NRA. And so that's enough to, those are negatives, I would say, but I have a Charlton Heston connection, because I didn't see him. I'm pretty sure all of his scenes were probably shot on a soundstage in Southern California. Almost all the stuff I did was out on location, out in the Trona Pinnacles. You guys can look this stuff up if you want. It's the Trona Pinnacles. It's in Southern California, but I guess you'd call it Southern, but kind of central. It's in the Owens Valley. It's out by Ridgecrest, out in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of on a highway that goes out to Death Valley. So it's out that way, sort of central east part of California. I did do some work in a soundstage that they had set up in a warehouse in Pomona, I believe. No, not Pomona. Not Pomona, not Panorama City. Pacoima. There you go. Pacoima. It was in Pacoima. They set up a warehouse, an industrial warehouse, and they did some green screen stuff that we did there for a few days in Pacoima. Not Panorama City, not... What was the other one? No, I can't remember the other one. Well, yeah, it was in Pacoima. And but other than that, I did about, I think, 45 days out in the Trona Pinnacles as a guerrilla. And like I told you about, we shot it in January, in February. And out there, it would be some days nice and sunny, 70 degrees. And in that monkey suit, though, it felt like 100 degrees. And you would have apes and gorillas falling out, man, from heat exhaustion and having to go to the first aid tent or being hauled off and getting hydrated or rehydrated. And the human extras who are wearing practically nothing. Like I told you, I was doing a fight scene with a human, female human, whom we got to know each other a little bit off set. Anyhow, and she was wearing this top. It was a costume that they give her, like this little, looks like a caveman thing, and completely braless. And every time we kind of choreographed a little fight scene, like she was striking me with a stick or something. And every time she did that, I was getting full view of her boobs, very, very nice boobs. And then I told her, and after I got a few free looks, I was feeling really guilty. And I go, every time you do that, I see your boobs. And she goes, "Oh, really?" And she's like, I don't know. She's like, "Okay." She goes, "I guess that's what would happen, and keeping it real, I go, "Yeah, let's keep it real." Anyhow, she was cool. So I guess I have a Charlton Heston connection because he was in the movie, although I never saw him or anything. And I think he might have been in pretty poor health then. I don't know. I know the character he was playing was pretty poor health, and I think he went on and later on was in poor health. I guess he was still good health then. I don't know. But there's a Charlton Heston connection. James Jaramillo says, "Fuck Charlton Heston. Who the fuck hosts a gun rally in a city that just had a school shooting?" So is that what the deal was? Maybe that was what the deal. I forgot. Is that where they did it, like in Columbine or some city? Was that where that clip was from? When I think he held his gun up and said, "You'll have to pry this from my cold dead hand," or whatever. Hey, Paul Burrows is back. Good to see you, Paul. Thanks for coming in. 11:55. Wow. What am I, about 24 minutes behind? Mad Max says, "Fuck Charlton Heston" is right, and I'm a gun owner too. Boy, lots of hate for Chuck Heston. James Jaramillo says, "Being around a car sucks." Yeah, it does. And I've had a car since I was 16, and I've been driving since before then. I was a little bit, right? Driver's permit. My dad would let me drive our old 53 Jimmy pickup truck when I guess I was 15 or whatever. Drive it to the dump. Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? Testing. Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? All right. How about now? All right. How about now? You guys can hear me now? I'm on the. You guys can hear me now? All right. TJ did 5-minute down memory lane. Yeah, how much did you guys? Where did I? What was the last thing you guys heard? I don't know where I left off. Aaron West, member for 25 months. John, your mic died. Thank you, Aaron West. Thank you for being a member. How many minutes ago was this? Audio dead. Squirrel Girl, $2. Hi, chat, DJ Sound Off. Yippee, Squirrel Girl. Thank you so much. Maybe I should do that more often. Maybe I'll get some. Maybe we'll make the goal, which is ended. But thank you so much, Squirrel Girl. I appreciate you. Brooklyn, how long has it been? Hey, Brooklyn SJU. John Glad, unbelievable. He's having a great time. Oh, I was telling some great stories. No sound, no sound. I was talking about, just Planet of the Apes shit. But you guys have heard most of my Planet of the Apes stories anyhow. Lots of words of wisdom. So I don't think I said anything new in that time anyhow that you haven't already heard. I just want to know where do you guys know where I left off? Well, this must be a record. I don't know, maybe. Jolie, on the plus side, next time he tells this story, it'll still be new to us. Squirrel Girl, remember for 10 months, wonderful words of wisdom, TJ. Mr. Spock, it's dead, Jim. Squirrel Girl, remember for 10 months. DVD says, attention, if anyone lives in Vegas, please venture over to TJ apartment, knock on the door. Oh, wow. MJ Daniel, I'll just listen to BB for now. Okay, you guys can hear me. I don't know where I left off, but like I said, I think it was all just Planet of the Apes shit that I was talking about. I think you guys have probably, I don't think it was anything new that you haven't heard already. I think I just regurgitated Planet of the Apes stuff. Johnny Cat, somewhere around God, you guys will have some hate for old Chucky. Jolie, I forgot because it was that long ago. Johnny Cass, I'm so dying over here. Doug, laptop down. Well, you know what? I forgot to charge this goddamn thing up. Like I told you at the beginning. I was able to get a 40-minute charge. So that got us almost 2 hours and 40 minutes, or at least 2.5 hours. That's what I get for going 3 hours. Anyhow, I went way over. I guess BB's on, right? Let me check the TV. Yeah, BB's on. When did he start? He's been on for an hour now. I'll give him a thumbs up. So that's what I get for going so long anyhow. If I just done like a 2-hour show or a 2-hour and 20-minute show, which I normally do, about 2:20, we would have been fine. But you guys are the ones that got me on this Planet of the Apes tangent. Jolie, chopstick mic kills me every time. I know, because I've been wanting to buy some new mics and stuff. Oh, now we're down to 27% battery on the thing here. Well, I guess I can just plug this in since I don't have the Bluetooth thing. in here, I can plug the charging cord in. So yeah, I don't know what you missed. You might have missed some juicy stuff. I did reveal a couple of juicy things that were kind of new. But anyhow, I'm not going to worry about it. Just learn how to read lips, I guess. I don't know. But I guess I got everything I was going to cover about Soylent Green. Let's go back. We can take that off. Go back to Soylent Green. And oh man, I hate technology when it doesn't cooperate. I think I hit everything I was going to hit on as far as the Soylent Green thing. Yeah, and I do have a couple notes here. Yeah, we talked about how I watched it and kind of relating it to now, and we talked about lab-grown meat and EVs and carbon footprints and all that stuff. So we talked about a lot about that. My 10-year predictions, we did that. There's a hybrid burger. Now, I did see that Aaron had said something about the lab or about meat, but then I went to look for the Graham Plattner, Susan Collins polling, and then when I went back to the chat, I wasn't able to go to that. So I don't know, but I think I don't know what the comment was about the lab-grown meat, and about how it tastes and everything else like that. There are, that is going to be a big issue. People aren't going to eat lab-grown meat unless it tastes exactly like real meat, and it is real meat. I don't mean lab-grown meat is real meat. It's just that it's grown in a lab instead of from an actual animal. They use the cells of the animal to grow the meat. But unless it tastes exactly like what we're used to, then people will never go for it, regardless of anything else about being squeamish about it being grown in a lab. It's going to have to taste exactly like, range grown cattle. And what they're doing is, what they're going to do is also grow fat, because fat is the flavor. And so they're working on that, about having this lab-grown fat from the animal, and they can do that. And in the meantime, they have a sort of a hybrid with what we call real beef grown from real animals, and mixing it with the lab-grown fat to try that flavor, I guess. So they're doing all kinds of things, but until they get it where it tastes exactly like real grown beef, then it will never take off. But I think, like I said, in 10 years, I think it will be in the grocery stores. And places like Texas and Florida are just going to have to eat crow, because that will be eventually, the lab-grown meat will, I think, take over. It's going to have to. I wasn't sure. I don't know if we got a consensus on lab-grown meat, yay or nay. I didn't see, other than Aaron. I think Aaron made a comment. I didn't. Did you guys see him? Because I did miss a lot of the chat. So I don't know what the consensus was on the lab-grown. If you would eat it, would you eat lab-grown meat, yay or nay? And I don't know. I didn't get the consensus on that. Just scrolling back down again. But yes, so, but I thought it was really interesting. I enjoyed my rewatching of Soylent Green. Like I said, I don't think I've seen it in close to 50 years, or at least 40 something. And I really enjoyed it. So if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to watch it. You know, it's a 1973 movie, a bit maybe low budget or moderate budget. It's a, you know, the production standards are a little not maybe what we're used to. But I like the movie, you know, and I don't give a fuck. Charlton Heston was in it. I didn't know he was a bigot in 1973. And I can, you know, still enjoy the movie. And there is a big sort of plot twist at the end. I'm not going to give that away, but I encourage you to watch it. And, you know, if you want. But I enjoyed the rewatching of it. Now I want to watch Omega Man. And I'm saying this out loud, YouTube, so it'll probably show up in my feed. Omega Man, if Omega Man shows up in my feed, I might do an Omega Man themed show. And I'll tell you right now, I saw the Will Smith I Am Legend that came out. How long has that been now? That's probably been 20 years. And I gotta tell you, I much prefer the Omega Man over the Will Smith one. I much prefer the Charlton Heston one. I don't care what you guys say about him being a bigot. I prefer Chuck Heston version because Omega Man was, I guess, adapted from the book I Am Legend. So then in whatever year Will Smith made I Am Legend, they should just call it Omega Man. And yeah, sure, the newer one has better effects and better production values and all that kind of stuff, but I still prefer Omega Man over it. So I'm glad I got to see it. I'm glad I got to see Soylent Green. I might go ahead and look for Omega Man now. Johnny Cat says, I would totally eat lab-grown meat. I don't care. All right. Aaron West says, 2 people said yes. 1 said no, they wouldn't eat it. Hey, there it is. 2-to-1 margin of yays over nays. Doug Breast of Crow. DPD says, I don't know. The thought of lab-made steak gives me the ick. That's an acronym for indigestion. No, it's not an acronym. David Weiss from David Weiss from Denver. Hey Dave, thanks for being here. I don't know if you heard earlier. I got your message, your voicemail. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the work you're doing for the car, getting the car ready. I appreciate it, and we'll talk soon. We'll talk later. And I appreciate what you're doing. But yeah, Dave Weiss says, lab-grown meat, sure, I've had edible insects a few times, pretty good. All right, look at there. But like I said, DPD, the lab, it will not replace real grown, I guess we'll call it real grown meat, unless it tastes and has the same texture and feel. And even the look, it has to look. If you're getting a lab-grown T-bone steak or a ribeye, it's got to look like a fucking ribeye. You know what I mean? I think, at least at first, maybe in 100 years from now or 1,000 years from now, they'll just have little pellets or something. I don't know. We'll be eating little pellets. I'm going to be around in 100 years. But at least, you know, for the foreseeable future, if it's going to be a lab-grown piece of meat, it better look like a filet mignon or a ribeye or whatever, and taste like it and have the same texture, or it's not gonna fly. People will say, fuck this shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? I was leaning into my mic that is not here. Johnny Katz says, well, Mrs. Fox said I would eat it if there's nothing else. Johnny Katz says, insects are the real future. I'm working on a habitat that's mobile that you can carry with you that contains bugs for human consumption. Now it's funny that you guys bring that up about eating bugs. It is very funny to me because, believe it or not, I swear to God, last night when I was waiting at the bus stop at 1 a.m. and it was 97 degrees, 99 degrees, and I'm sweating my balls off, this one particular bus stop, now I know probably all the bus stops have bugs crawling around and stuff, but this one particular bus stop on Tropicana in Decatur, where I wait for my second bus, it has a lot of these like roach type bugs. There are a lot of them crawling around. So you're standing there waiting for the bus, and then I think I feel something on my leg, but I don't. I think it's all psychological. They're not crawling on me, but they're all over the place. They're crawling all around. You can see them on the sidewalk, and they'll run out to the street. They'll run down the gutter, then they'll come back up. There was a candy bar wrapper, and there was like a whole bunch of them inside the candy bar wrapper. There's all these bugs. And then I saw this like homeless dude walk by. And then I just thought, and I know this sounds horrible, but I just thought, I wonder if homeless people could eat these bugs. You know, because you see stuff like these Survivor shows, Survivor and other shows where people eat bugs and shit. And you've heard about people eating bugs who are like stranded and have no food. So I just thought, I wonder if this is edible, if these bugs are edible. And then you're talking about raising edible bugs. So I don't think you could just eat any bug, probably. Those bugs, these bus stop bugs, and they're like this big. You know, I don't know, they're not really like a cockroach, but they're big, and they're probably in the roach family, and they're gross. And they're scurrying all around. But the thought crossed my mind. I was like, I wonder if homeless people could eat these bugs if they really needed to, if they're really like starving. And I'm thinking, I wonder if I would ever do that. You know, would I just, you know, go down on the ground there and start eating those bugs? It was just something that crossed my mind. You know, when you're waiting for the bus in 99-degree heat at 1 a.m. in the morning, a lot of things cross your mind. You know what I mean? MJ Dan, you want something so bad it's funny? Watch BBC Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe from the 70s. I still haven't read that book. You guys keep telling me to read that book. I still have not got that book and read it. I saw the movie, and I didn't think the movie was that great. But everyone tells me the book was better, and you guys always tell me to read that book. That it's like life-changing or some shit like that. I don't know. MJ Daniel, he, referring to Charlton Heston, made some good movies. Too bad he was such a prick. My God, I knew about the gun thing. I knew he was a gun lover and a gun NRA supporter, but I didn't think he was that bad. You know what I mean? I didn't think it was that bad. Yeah, somebody you guys are talking about has lots of accounts and keeps showing up. Yeah. You're supposed to go on car night. I'm just sort of. Now, DPD says, I tasted a small piece of Impossible Burger. My sister had one. Impossible Burger is not lab-grown meat. Impossible Burger is all vegetable. That's all made out of vegetable protein or vegetables. It's a veggie burger. That is not lab-grown meat. Just so you know. Lab-grown meat is actual real meat that they are going to grow from the cell. I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but they get the cells of a cow and they can grow meat. They can grow ground beef, and they're supposed to be able to do like steaks and shit. But Impossible Burger, that's vegetable. That's not There's no meat in that. They're two different things. MJ Daniel says, saw a show, Nature Maybe, about Lake Victoria in Africa, and there is a huge hatch of insects that natives catch and cook. Yum. Yummy. Yummy for your tummy. Johnny Cass, those big old water bugs, right, that are really roaches. Yeah, there's some kind of roach and at the bus stop. And this one particular bus stop, there's so many of them. MJ Danny, old car salesman, 70s, Cal Worthen, I'll eat a bug to sell your car. Yeah, I remember Cal. Go see Cal, go see Cal, go see Cal. And his dog, Spot. And it'd be like a big ass tiger and shit. Johnny Katz, that's a good idea. That's not horrible. Solving problems is a good thing. Johnny Katz, I've had mealworms and those are pretty good. Ugh. Mr. Spock says apparently June bugs taste like strawberries. Never tried to find out, but they do eat fried June bugs in Vietnam. They pull out the abdomen and replace it with a peanut, then fry them up. Wow. Yummy! Again, with the yummy. DVD, does anyone remember the show Naked and Afraid? Oh yeah, I sometimes binge watch that. I told my husband I wanted us to go on the show. Johnny Katz, you know when they deemed the KKK a terrorist organization was coincidentally the same year that the NRA was started? Coincidence? I think not. Brooklyn says roaches and water bugs are huge in Brooklyn. So anywho, all right guys, yeah, we're over 3 hours. My microphone died. I'm getting really thirsty. It's time to go get a refill of something to drink. That breakfast sandwich is wearing down. I'm gonna have to go make something or go get something at 7-Eleven. But anyhow, guys, thanks for being here. I'll probably make some pancakes. I've been making lots of pancakes. I'm getting really good at making pancakes and omelets. I do still have 2 eggs. I might make myself a nice cheese omelet. I'm getting really good at making omelets too. Anyhow, DBD says, I assume the Impossible Burger was meat and not veggies. You learn something new every day. Yeah, no, that's all vegetable. That's all veggie burger stuff. It's not lab-grown meat. I'm pretty sure, unless you guys want to Google it, because I was wrong about Oprah. Apparently, I thought she lost that lawsuit that the Cattlemen's Association sued her for, but apparently she won. Anyhow, I'm getting really thirsty and all that good stuff. So thanks guys so much for hanging out. I really enjoyed talking about Soylent Green and the 70s and maybe some of the warnings that we should heed, and about, let's try to use our noggins and let's get out of this situation. Let's see if we can somehow at least put a halt to global warming. I don't know. It might take 100 years to reverse it, but if we don't start now, it's only going to get worse. So every day that we can start and we can start getting and making our fossil footprint smaller, the better it will be for future generations. It might not be any good for me. I'm old, and so what? I'll just have to adapt. I already know that our winters aren't the same as the winters when I was a kid. Our summers aren't the same. I know we're hotter and drier and everything else like that. But if we start, we can't just keep putting it off. So we got to do whatever we can do with as far as climate change and droughts, and trying to, like I say, make our carbon footprint as small as possible. And we can do it. And the only thing that is really stopping us is, I think, greed, enormous greed by, of course, the big industries, the big fossil fuel, carbon emitting industries, and of course, politicians that are bought off by them and are going to always tilt everything to their favor. That's what's really killing us. And then the American voters, and I'm just, I know this is a global issue, but speaking about here in America, voters voting against their best interests, and they do it all the time. All these people, I have family members that have been on government programs their entire lives, since the 60s and 70s, that have been on government programs, welfare and Medicare and Social Security disability, and yet they are now maggots, and they've been right-wingers all along. And whether or not they vote, I don't know. I don't even know if they vote, but they certainly do support verbally the right-wing message. And a lot of these people do vote, and they vote against their own best interests for some unknown fucking reason. It's brainwashing, and they take the bait on these cultural issues, or religious issues, and they take that bait. And really, the Republicans, they just use that, to get votes, because they can't really run on issues. If they ran on, yes, we're going to lower taxes for the rich, and we're going to strip away regulations for the big rich companies, and we're going to take away social safety nets because we can't do both, or whatever. If they ran on that, they would never get elected. So, anywho, let's start today. All we can do, we can't change the past. We can only learn from it. And the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. I won't get fooled again. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you. Think about hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're watching on the replay, please subscribe, like, share, hype, leave a comment in the comments. Let me know who's watching. Geez, Trucker John, it sounded like you were doing words of wisdom and everything, and you didn't even give people a warning to write stuff down. What's up with that, Trucker John? Sound like you were. That sounded like words of wisdom to me, man. That was some good shit, Trucker John. Just saying. That was some good. That was words of wisdom right there, man. Yeah, buddy. Heck yeah. Yeah, that was pretty wise stuff coming from Trucker John. I wonder if Trucker John still has words of wisdom to give, or did he shoot his wad, so to speak. Anyhow, I want to come on and say thanks, everyone, so much for being here. Thanks for those donos. And Trucker John, you ate all the donuts, by the way. I'm really pissed off about that. But thanks for everyone for being here. And remember, keep it purple. I don't even know what that means. All right, Tough Cookie Paul, the purple beard guy, thanks for being here. I do appreciate you so much. But I do have some words of wisdom. Number one, guys, just remember, number one, check your microphones more regularly. Check your chat. Number two, did you guys get pen and paper?
Well, it's time to say goodbye. show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So I style of Easter, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs, shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. For free. So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road. It'll make you wish that you were young, but all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade. It's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills. It's about staying in the hunt. It's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road. That's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road. Just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret. It'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. It's so damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life. Everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot. You're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Feel sad and I don't cry. Sometimes I wonder why it takes so long for evil men to die. But I want you to know that when you go, you won't be missed. And the ground where you'll lay, we're all gonna take a big giant piss. And for your end, we all anticipate, without any love and too exhausted to hate. Your long-lasting legacy will be one of disgrace and shame throughout the annals of history. Your name will shrink, you'll lose your fame. And as you lay there drawing in your final breath, just know that you made us happiest in death. You will not be thought of kindly, and you won't be missed. And like I said before, on the ground you'll lay, I'm gonna take a big old piss. Show's over, I'm out of here, folks. Bye.